I'm starting the meeting here after lunch, first thing, right after a professional speaker. And so I think I need to find the guy who put that schedule together. I promise I won't be as good as the previous speaker, but I'll try to keep you all awake. Maybe we can turn the heat up and hand out pillows at the same time. I don't know. So, there we go. First thing I want to do is there are a lot of new people, since we haven't had this meeting for a number of years. We've got new people in the room, in the audience, that haven't been to one of these necessarily, and we've got new members of the VPG team. So I think it's important that everybody gets a face with a name, so you know who you're talking to when you call, you know who your field salesperson is, you know who the marketing people are if you call in and you need to talk to somebody. So on the field sales side of things, we've done a couple of things. We have a challenge, like a lot of you do in your organizations as well, with communication. Communication's very tough. Everybody's dealt with that. So to help on communications, one of the things we've done is to split the country in two. We've got a western region and an eastern region, and what that allows us to do is better communicate things rather than communicating everything out, and maybe it only makes sense for the southeast, or maybe it only makes sense for the west coast, or whatever. So by splitting it out and putting some key people in positions, we're hopeful that we're going to get better communication with that, and then it helps with our reporting structure as well. So I mentioned we've got a western region and an eastern region broken out as such. So Dave Taylor, over on the side over here. Dave Taylor is our senior RSM on the east side, which is a newly created position. We've elevated him a little bit to where he's got parts of Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia, and then handles a lot of the communication and reporting for the eastern U.S. Working with Dave, maybe, is Bill Sproat. Bill's center back there, and he's got all our parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri. Hilton Frizzell, and I'm sure you all know Hilton, but if you don't, he's right back in the back over here. Hilton has Louisiana, Mississippi, and part of Tennessee, and Hilton's 6 months away from his 30-year anniversary with VPG. Ron Porter. Where's Ron? Okay, in the back over here. Ron has got most of Florida and not the Panhandle, but the rest of Florida and southern Georgia. Tom Boyd. He's back by the display over here. He's got all our parts of Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and the Virginias. John Nicheski. Now, this is a newly created position, and many of you may not know John. John handles the Northeast and New England states. John's been with us just about right at 2 years. And he came to us, he was previously with Jonathan Green. And then in a newly created position as well, Randy Green, who has been here 29 years as well. We've reduced his geography to basically Alabama and the Panhandle where he lives, and he has taken on a key accounts role. And what we're doing with key accounts is we've mentioned that we're going after these new accounts. It's our opportunity. He is heading up the efforts on sourcing those, getting them set up, getting pricing put in, all that kind of thing. And a lot of these, we've put a key account person on because when you get to multi-chain locations, they don't necessarily do their buying, obviously, store by store, right? So They've got a corporate office. It's better and easier to have one key account person working on that account rather than to have 3 RSMs because that's across that much geography. He also handles, does corporate work with hardware. In another newly created position, we put an RSM in California. We needed some focus on the West Coast. Andy Dannenberger, over on the far side over here. Andy is our senior RSM for the Western U.S. And Andy, you've been with us right at 2 years as well, right? 2.5. And he actually worked for L&L for about 15 years, I believe, and was with Fox Farm and a couple of others. So, Mark Taylor. There he is. Mark handles the Pacific Northwest, including Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming. He's got a pretty big geography, a lot of spread out accounts, and he's on the road a lot, but does a really good job. Another newly created position, Daniel Cimino. Daniel's our newest member, a year and a half. Daniel's here in Denver. And we created this position because we had a couple of individuals with huge territories. And so we put this position in place, and he's done a really nice job and has a lot of experience. He managed a garden center for many, many years in Louisiana. Oh, and happy birthday, by the way. Noble, center back. Noble manages New Mexico and North Texas. Fred Heck, center back. He's South Texas. Lynn Bollet, Oklahoma and Arkansas. And then in another elevated position, newly created position, if you will, Tony Meyer. And by the way, this week, or just last week, was Tony Meyer's 10-year anniversary with VPG. And Tony, in addition to being the RSM in the Plains States, has taken on a role as our technical lead. He's very involved with a lot of the colleges and their entomology departments and disease and pest control departments. And he does a number of things, including called the Fertiblast, which is a newsletter that he does regularly on appropriate pests and controls. And many of you, I'm sure, are on his distribution list, and so he's taken on that role. So what we're going to do here in this session today is we just went through the intros. We're going to go through marketing. We're going to do a little bit, not an in-depth PK, but we're going to do a little bit of a PK, Tony will, on each of the new items that we've got coming out this year. And then we'll look at the new website. Krista will come up and show the new website. And then we've got a couple of guest speakers who are sponsors of ours. So if you like what we go through on the marketing side, let me know. If you don't, you just met the team. So Krista, Cam mentioned just a little while ago about Krista's new role. And she was actually hired for this role, but we had her laden down with some other things, some labels and all that kind of thing. Well, Cam went through a great amount of what we all need to be doing on social media and websites and all that kind of thing. And certainly we need to model that behavior. If we're saying we need to do it, we need to do it as well, right? So Krista we're going to get all those other responsibilities off her. She's going to be 100% dedicated to social media, to the website, to all those types of things, and to helping all of you as well. So we're going to work on that full steam ahead soon as we leave this meeting. So Krista will be heading all that up. Like I mentioned, the labels for the most part will be coming off of that list, and we'll probably end up hiring a separate person to do just that. In addition, we've got Tony as his technical lead. We've got Tony looking at all the labels as well, so he'll be able to absorb a little bit of that too. So Krista, y'all met her a little bit ago, but also in marketing, Marcia in the back over here. If you like the catalog, Marcia's put that catalog together for years. I think she's done a better job this year than ever. She's taken a lot of the feedback. We've taken a lot of the feedback from people in this room as to the things you like, things you don't like. Continue to give us that. It's an ongoing process. Every year it'll be reinvented, but she just got that done, and she got it, due to this meeting, she got it done on a much, much quicker time frame than we've ever had before, or at least since I've been here. This is pushed up 3 or 4 weeks, and she got it done, and it's hot off the press. So, and then Don. Okay, Don's over here. That's a newly created position. Many of you probably haven't met him. We were spending a great deal of money outsourcing all of our graphics. And then when you do that, first of all, it's expensive. But second of all, you don't have the same person working on your stuff all the time. You get different looks. Well, Don has come to us, or we've been able to hire Don as a graphic artist, our own dedicated graphic artist, so he can get involved with what we look like, what we feel like, how we want to go about doing this all. And he's got a great experience. He has worked at a very high level in the graphics arena, to where he's even worked on women's fragrances, Chanel and things like that. You know how high level of advertising that is. Well, he's done a lot of that work. So he's very accomplished in this, and has been doing a really nice job, I believe. So then, this is my first meeting as well. I've been introduced a couple times, so you know who I am. I do have some experience. I've got a degree in horticulture, 25 plus years in the industry, and 13 of those were with Spectrum Brands. So, as I was listening to Cam speak, did you all enjoy Cam? He did a great job, didn't he? And his message, was it pertinent? Yeah. I was thinking about our role, and not just our role here, but our role collectively when he was talking about that. And he mentioned 4 or 5 different buying groups, and each of those buying groups had 4 or 5 different signals that they purchased by, right? And so in marketing, you've got to put one look, one plan together and try to appeal to all those different ones. And that's a tough thing, right? I deal with it, but I know you do. If you're a retailer, you've got to deal with it. You've got all those people coming in to the shelf trying to figure out how to reach them, how to get them to buy, how to pick up the product. If you're a distributor, you got the same issues on how do you market, how do you make your catalog look and feel, and all those things, and we're dealing with it as well. So marketing's a very tough thing. If I'm marketing just to you, that's a lot easier than if I'm marketing to you and you and you and you and you. And we're trying to market to everybody out there. So that having been said, we're going to go through some of the things that we've done over the last couple of years. And also, that having been said, understand we're not going to please every single person in this room. We are interested in your feedback, and we want your feedback, and I hope you'll give us all your feedback. Marketing is impossible to please every single person, because everybody has those different buying signals, right? So the new catalogs, I mentioned the new catalog. There's the look of the catalog. You've got it in your hand in the booking forms. These are what Marcia's been working on. And some of the features of the catalog, and we'll go into these a little bit more. They're color-coded to match the labels, a thicker stock, 3-ring pre-punch, groupings by family, and a photo contest, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So I think you've all seen on the Fertilome, there's color coding on the labels. All of the insecticides are blue, fungicides are gold, et cetera. The pages in the catalog match exactly to that same code. The first pages in there are purple, and those are the new items for this year. So easier to follow along, and all hangs together, makes sense. We've also done something new this year in that, in years past, we just put them in order, the items in order, and you may have weed-free zone, the last 3 items on this page and the first 4 items on the next page. Where it's a big enough family of those items, we've dedicated a page to it and made it so that that's the whole family of weed-free zones on one page. All the sizes, all the formulations, same thing with weed out. Kills all an open 2 page because that's a big family, and grouped them together better, I believe. The other thing is, and this is a lot of the feedback from this room, the 3-hole punch, obviously the salespeople love that, but so do a lot of the retailers, because I've gotten feedback that they like to keep them behind the counter in a binder that they can access or what have you. So we've done that, and then we've gone to a thicker stock of page on it, because these need to last a while. A lot of them are at the shelf, a lot of them are hanging off the shelf, a lot of them are being used as a reference behind the counter or at the counter, and they need to last quite a bit of time. Plus, I like the way that it makes the catalog thicker. It stands up. You notice the binding on it. It's the perfect binding instead. It stands up better against what some of our competitors' catalogs do, I believe. And then I mentioned the photo contest. This is an idea that we've got from this room right here. Mark Anderson, who's on our board, Anderson's Garden Center, he does something very similar. He puts a calendar together every year. And the way he gets the pictures for his calendar is throughout the year, he has his customers send in pictures of their yard, what they've done, gardens, all that kind of stuff. Then he narrows those down and uses those for his calendar next year. So similar to that, what we're going to do is, and we don't have all the details worked out, we'll have them in the next couple weeks. We're going to ask our customers, your customers, to send in pictures of their gardens and their yards and their, everything, their homes, all that. And then next year's catalog, you notice there's a ton of pictures in there. We will use some of those better pictures and give them credit. We'll put the person's name. We'll have an entry form, so we'll have their name and everything. And then we'll probably end up running a contest as well for some of the main pictures. Maybe it's the back cover or inside the back cover, and that person wins some money or wins some free goods or something like that. We'll have those details out here shortly. But that's an idea that came out of this group, and hopefully that'll add some excitement and get our customers even more involved. What do you think? Good? Okay. The booking forms, you've got the new booking forms, and they have also been sent to all the distributors. So when you get back, those salespeople, when you get back, you should have them all there and ready to go. So trade shows and ads. Here we're getting ready to do trade shows. And you've all seen the booth back there that we've got for the large. That's for the large shows, of course. And we've gotten a lot of great feedback and press out of that. In fact, the first time that we used that booth was at IGC a couple of years ago. And it was funny. We had a steady stream of our competitors running up going, oh my God, what are you guys doing? Bayer and Monterey and Bonide, they were like, oh my gosh, you guys just raised the bar. There it is together as one unit, rather than, we've got it in the 4 units now, but that's the one unit with the 2 islands. And I think it shows very nicely. The graphics, again, Dawn put those graphics together. And so what we've done is taken those graphics, and if you look at, we do a lot of smaller shows as well, right? We do more smaller shows actually than we do the big shows. We want to have the same basic look across the country no matter where you're at. I mean, it should be very, very similar. So we've made tablecloths, throws that match the graphics on this here. So whether it's, and then we put together the vertical banners, and if it's a 10-foot location, a 20-foot location, or IGC or one of the great big shows, we've got a similar look all the way across the country. Everybody can walk in there and know that's a VPG booth, and so that has been tied together. And then the ads that we're doing, Dawn is taking the same type of a look, not to say that everything's going to be exactly the same, but that ran in Farmer's Almanac. That was the back page of Farmer's Almanac, inside the back cover. But you can see a very similar look to the catalog. These are some of the new ads on the new items that we're doing. So we're trying to make it all hang together, not that they're going to be cookie cutter one right after the other, but we have to have an identity of some type. This is a little deviation from that look, but this is another idea that came from this room. We came out with, we had a lot of people, probably people in this room saying, come back with the metal signs. Because the metal signage lasts a long time. Everybody loved it. They were 20 years ago and they're still in half the garden shops out there, right? I mean, there's just a great use on them. And so we actually found in Dave's area in Indiana, there was a woman in a garden shop had made a sign very, very similar to that. And so we snapped some pictures and she said, yeah, go ahead. And we went and altered it a little bit. Not major changes, but just updated it, refreshed it, and used that as the metal sign. And those came out, you've all seen them, they came out probably 3 months ago, and we have had an overwhelmingly positive support on our reception to that. And I like it. Do you all like it? What I've heard back is it's nice because it fits into whether it's a farm store or a garden center or even a more gifty garden center. It fits really into those. So we'll continue to look for ideas. And like I said, those are things that have all come from the group. What's that? How do you get them? Well, you can, the distributors, we can, if they're out of them, we can ship more in through the distribution. Your RSM, our regional person, call them, they'll get them for you. They'll deliver them to you. You're in Kansas, we can get one to you real easy. Yeah. What are those? Well, there's one right out here. I think they're 24 by 18, I think. But yeah, there's one. So yeah, let your RSM know, and they'll be sure to get them to you. In Bonham? What's Marcia, we've still got more in inventory, don't we? We don't. And we'll get some more made. If the distributor's out, we can get more made and get them shipped out. So that should only take 2-3 weeks. We've obviously got the graphics and everything done on them already, so we'll print up more. Okay, the labels, we mentioned those a little bit. What we're trying to accomplish with the labels is better, bigger pictures, and make sure that the name and the bullet points on the front of the label call out what that product does and the broadest uses of that product. We've got Tony involved with helping to make sure we've got the right pictures, the right bullet points. We've got the graphics. getting the best pictures that we can find. And the goal is really, it's my belief you should be able to stand 4 foot back from a shelf, and by looking at that product, be able to tell real quickly what it does by the name and by the pictures. Then you can pick up the product to see, is tomatoes listed on here, is, your particulars, but you should be able to look from a little ways away and know, okay, I know what that product does. So what we're doing is, obviously I've already mentioned the colors, but in addition to that, we just want more consistency. Some of the labels had bullet points and they were bulleted. Some of them had bullet points and they weren't bulleted, they were all the way on the left margin. Some had wording in present tense, some in past tense. So we're trying to just catch all those things and make them more consistent all the way across. The other thing is we haven't changed high yield really at all, and don't have much of any plans to do that, except for to update the pictures and bigger pictures. But the coloring in that hasn't changed. The one thing that we are doing with high yield, and it's a minor point, but there was a wide range of gradient across there. So some of the labels were yellow to orange, and some of them were almost dark green to orange. So this one's a little bit more yellow. Some of them had gotten to where they were dark green, and there's kind of everything in between. The only thing that we've really done on high yield is to standardize that. So they're going to be the same all the way across. You won't have that variance in them. I mentioned the pictures and the bullet points. The large fertilizer, all the bags now, every single bag has the analysis and the coverage on the front of the bag called out. That's probably the first 2 things you look for, right? And they weren't all there, so we've made sure those are there. And then we'll have a continual review process on these to make sure that if we missed some wording, if we missed some bullet point, something like that, that we catch that. So the big plan for labels, and I want to say this real loud because I know that there's a lot of different labels out there. Our plan for labels is to leave them alone. We get them here, and we want to leave them for a long, long time. We do want that brand recognition. There's no doubt we want that brand recognition. We don't want you to have all those variations of labels. We just needed to do this, get it, and we'll leave it. Promise. The only thing that could change that, obviously, is, if the government or the EPA or somebody comes in and says, you can't do this, you can't do that, whatever it is, those things come up from time to time. We obviously have to react to that if that happens, regulatory issues and that. The other thing that could change it is we're going to listen to you. So if everybody came back and said, you need to do this, we would definitely take that into account and may make changes for that. But our plan right now is no more big changes with labels, okay? So this I probably didn't even need to show because it's up live back there, but this is what the changes have enabled us to do. Not that we're reinventing the wheel here. Other companies have certainly done this. But you can block set by category, and you see the shelf strips, which I believe are there's the high yield. The shelf strips that are at the back there, so you can block set that. We are doing now shelf talkers. Any shelf talkers we do are color coordinated to the same exact, so that they will not stand out like a sore thumb. It does not. Yeah, it does not right now. And now, would you like that to? Right. Okay. or we can alternate it. I mean, we can do fertilome, insecticide, fertilome, insecticide, because they're cuttable. So, you know, if you've got a smaller section or a bigger section, you can cut them to length that you need. So in the middle probably wouldn't make as much sense as to alternate at every one. And we're running through these quickly. I mean, we're going to reprint them, so it's easy to do on the fly. What do you? Okay. Yeah, we'll print the next batch of that way. And then, you know, this part of this, it all comes back to when a couple of years ago when we all came in, the model at VPG has been a super successful push model. There's no question it's been a very highly successful push model, and we don't want that to change. Our distributor salespeople are the most valuable, one of the most valuable assets that we have, and you do a great job at pushing product in. But where we were starting to get beat was the competition had, a number of our competitors had gone to a very effective pull model, pulling product off the shelf, getting it put in a basket through a register. And so we've tried to address a number of those opportunities. And one of the things we've done is come out with the mini pallets, and we have those in for the liquids and the 4-pound granules, and we're continuing to look at some other opportunities, maybe for the puffers, some aerosols or something like that. And we'll take your feedback on that, of course. Right now we've got these, it's the quart and the RTS and RTU liquids and the 4-pound granules. So that's one of the things we've done. Did somebody have a question? Okay. So when you kind of step back and look at it all together, you know, I mentioned that we're trying to get a similar look between what we do at trade shows, what we do with our catalog, what we do with our ads, and you'll see here in just a little bit what we're doing with the website. I hope that we have formed a more cohesive look and feel to what we're doing. Now, I mentioned new items, and we've got a lot of new items for you this year, and I'm really excited about them. I really am. We've bolstered the Natural Guard up quite a bit. That's just you know, becoming a bigger thing. Not just on the coast. It's certainly on the coast, but not just on the coast. I mean, Dallas has a very good organic market. Denver right here has a very good organic market. There's a lot of it, and do you all agree that that's a growing market, or are we barking up the wrong tree? Yeah? Okay. Well, we've increased our focus on the Natural Guard items this year, and we've got some plans going forward as well. And then we've got some other new exciting items, and Tony being our expert on the technical side of things, I'm going to bring Tony up, and he's not going to go super in depth on each of these. We will at your individual PKs going into spring. But going into the shows right now, he's going to give you kind of a top line overall, you know, just a lowdown on each of the new items. So Tony Meyer.
Thank you, Todd. Oops, sorry. Clicker?
Oh, yeah. You might want that, huh?
Thank you. Well, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Tony Meyer. I cover Kansas, Nebraska. I don't have a clip on. I cover Kansas, Nebraska. I was actually a dealer for 20 years. And like Todd said earlier, I just got my 10-year ring 2 nights ago. So I've been with VPG for 10 years. And so I've been on both sides of things. Another thing to kind of tie everything together, Todd asked me to make the PowerPoints that the team uses for training to kind of make them all look like the themes that we do. And I'm used to moving around, sorry. And so we'll see some uniformity there. I try to usually make it match up with the catalog. And Okay, so I Don put these slides together. He actually put a picture of the page in the catalog. When I do a PK meeting, I like people to be able to open up the catalog, make notes on those items, and so that, then they can have it right there as they're going through it. So these will be in order of how they should be on the pages. And the first one's the indoor-outdoor, and the indoor-outdoor, Fertilome indoor-outdoor that's had kind of the pink label, we wanted to make it look like the new wasp and hornet, ant and roach that we introduced last year, and so we've moved it into that blue can, and it's not microencapsulated anymore, but it went from a 0.25 permethrin to a 0.5, and there's a lot more things on the label. It still does indoor use, ants, roaches, spiders. It's water-based, low odor, won't stain. Outdoor use, house plants. It's got a very wide label, a really good flea and tick label. You can spray it on the bedding for dogs, for fleas and ticks. And do what? Yeah, it does bed bugs, and it's still on the label. It also has some strange insects like carpet beetle, some of those kind of things. And go here. Mosquito Go. Mosquito Go, we introduced a whole family of Mosquito Go. We have an aerosol, a fogger, a RTS, and then a granule. And so the fogger is a permethrin and tetramethrin product, and a fogger is to be used, spray it on the patio, the porch, and where you're going to be at, you spray the area. If there's shrubs or flowers in the area, spray it, stay about 24 inches away, and then it will suspend itself in the bush and make it last longer. It has a killing ability as well as a repelling ability, and so that repelling ability is diminished if it's windy, if there's rain. So if you can do it when it's calm, it's going to last longer. Again, this is water-based, and it's going to be low odor. I thought it was kind of interesting on the label. It lists on there that you can do a 500 square foot patio 4 times. I don't know who measured that. This, the RTS Mosquito Go, this is a 2.5% permethrin, and this is for treating the lawn and again, around the house, the foundation. And this label lists a number of flying insects, mosquitoes, wasps, gnats, houseflies. This has on the label also some dairy and farm uses. So you can use it around the farm buildings, around where you keep livestock. It also has a garden label. And you're going to have to be a salesperson, but if somebody wants a permethrin ready to spray for the vegetables, you can peel that label open, and gardens are listed on it. Mosquito Go Granule, for those of you that have been doing the lawn shield granule, it's the exact same thing. It's a cedar oil granule, and it almost starts to work immediately. When you put cedar oil out, cedar oil has an aroma that irritates flying insects. So flying insects, as they start to move into the area, they get agitated. They don't like that, so they just stay away from that area. So this is something you could take on a picnic, take fishing, and you find the place where you want to be, sprinkle some out there. You can sit down in it immediately, and it's safe for kids, pets, people. I haven't heard of anybody that has a sensitivity to cedar oil, but I'm sure they're out there. So this is really safe for beneficials. The first year we introduced the lawn shield, I had somebody that their folks had bought a garden center, and the mom had planted a bunch of sedums in front of the garden center, and every year they had all these bees and wasps in the fall, and they didn't want to get rid of the plants. So this is what they will use to repel, to keep those bees and wasps down, and that's helped them so their customers can come in. So I thought it was kind of interesting. Yeah. Most of these new items will probably be starting to ship in November. I'm trying to push on the crabgrass killer to maybe still get some, but it's getting pretty late this year. So most of these will start to have them ready in November so we can start shipping them on drop ships. Weed-free zone gallon. You should be pretty familiar with weed-free zone, but we have a lot of professionals that are buying speed zone gallon. We want to take some of that away, let them get the weed-free zone gallon. A lot of people that buy 2 or 3 quarts, maybe we can push them up to that gallon size. Some people that, especially further north, this is going to be a really good item. Not to say it's not a good item down south, but in areas where you have big lawns, it's just important to have a larger size. And that's what we did with the crabgrass killer. The crabgrass killer, I was literally in a garden center last summer, and one customer came up and had 9 pints of this crabgrass killer. And the next customer, wasn't even 5 minutes later, had 6 pints. The pint covers 3,000 square feet. That's not a big enough area for the lawns that we have in Nebraska and Kansas. And so we pushed and got a quart added. So there's a 32-ounce concentrate quart being added. Another thing with the Weed Out with Crabgrass Killer, we brought out the Weed Out with Crabgrass Killer, and the word crabgrass killer was tiny, and it was black, and you couldn't tell the difference between Weed Out with Crabgrass Killer and straight Weed Out lawn weed killer. I mean, you had to get up there close, and it was really confusing. Somebody suggested we do something about that. We initiated this change, boom, right away last year, and so that blue crabgrass killer, enlarged and blue, came from suggestions from you guys. So anytime you see something like that, email works best, or call. So bug, slug, and snail. The bug, slug, and snail bait is a spinosad with the iron phosphate. So this is similar to the Sluggo Plus. Now, Sluggo Plus is a spinosad with iron phosphate, but the Sluggo Plus, the spinosad is encapsulated inside of the molecule or inside of the particle. And what Neudorf has done for ours is they put the spinosad on the outside. And so you're going to have a better release of the spinosad. You're going to have a better, more effective spinosad product. This product has 13 different specific ants listed on it. And he says one of the things that it's one of the best on is crazy ant. And, but there's a ton of ants on there. I should have brought one up so I could read them all off. But another thing that it would be really good for is sow bugs, pill bugs, roly-polies. Those guys are decomposers, and this has a wheat gluten bait in it, and they'll be attracted to the aroma of the wheat gluten. You'll put this out, lightly water it, it'll attract them to it, and they'll eat it. And this is non-staining. Again, the iron phos is non-staining, very safe, and so this has some really good advantages over just the straight iron phosphate product. And so this gives us the advantage to do some crawling insects as well as slugs and snails. So that brings us to slug and snail bait, and slug and snail bait is just an iron phosphate product. This is Sluggo, and you apply the product, don't apply it in piles, disperse it, lightly water it, apply it in the evening, apply it if they're on some plants, but during the day, if you're in a warm area, they'll migrate to areas to hide. Put it in the area between where they're going to hide and the plant so that they get into it. And with iron phosphate on slugs and snails, they'll ingest it, and within minutes of ingesting it, it starts to affect their stomach, and they stop feeding. And it sometimes will take 2 or 3 days for the slug to die, but most often, once they feed and they notice something bothering their stomach, they will leave that area, go to their hiding spot, and die in their hiding spot. So most of the time, you're not going to see dead slugs or snails laying around. They do it in a hidden area. Caterpillar killer spray with BT. And this is our old Thuricide product, the Thuricide. We didn't change anything except for the name. And so Thuricide is a wormicide killer. It only kills worms and caterpillars. Yeah. I think that he asked why the Sluggo Plus or the bug slug and snail was only in one size. That was the only size that was initially offered to us from Neudorf. I've had a couple of people ask, so we may explore doing a bag of that as well, because there is some big advantages to having it that way. Thank you. Yes. Did we end out with that? Does it say it on the label?
Ones that are back there, the ones that are back there are mock-ups. We have got the approved claim, safe for use around pets, and on the final version, it will say on the front, safe for use around pets.
Thank you.
We were able to get that.
This doesn't need Bitrix because it's just iron phosphate. Animals, kids, pets don't eat this. It's a small granule, and there's not a poison in it. It will, when they're gone, it'll be shipped. He asked if the Thuricide product is gone, and when we run out of what we have manufactured, all of the new stuff then will be shifted over to the new product, the Caterpillar Killer spray with BT. So it's just a worm and caterpillar killer. It doesn't do any other types of insects. It's a biological. And let me see if it's here. Yeah, this one isn't in the catalog, but we have gotten this added since we did the catalog a few weeks ago. We will be able to order this at the show. The guys all have a single sheet with this number on it, and I apologize, I should have brought my sheets up here so I could have given it. But at your shows or at your kickoff meetings, the guys will be able to give you a sheet with this, and this is the Caterpillar Killer with BT in an RTU. And like I say, this has just been a last-minute addition, and it'll be we'll be able to ship that with this in the spring as well. It is not on the booking form. That's why we'll have to write it in. I would rather that we have something that we can add to the booking form as opposed to wait all the way till next year at this time to introduce it. And so, yeah, good question. It's not on the booking form. Insecticidal soap, we've had it, we dropped it, we had it, we dropped it, we have it again. And instead of a quart concentrate like last time, which is kind of a lot of insecticidal soap, this time it's a 16 ounce, and it's a potassium salts fatty acid, and just like always with insecticidal soap, it does soft-bodied insects, and we have to kind of be careful. When it's over 85 degrees, it starts to burn. And so just have to be aware of that. And I thought it was the next slide. We'll get caught up. Copper soap. Copper soap's another one. We had it, and then we lost it, and then we have it back again. And copper soap's one of my favorite products. It's a bactericide. It'll do a lot of the rots. It'll do a lot of the bacteria. But this, I'm trying to find the study. K-State did a study a few years ago comparing chlorothalonil to copper soap. And in their study on septoria leaf spot and on early blight, chlorothalonil beat copper soap every time. But it beat it by 0.01, 0.03%. Well, if I can use something that's not hard chemical, and use something that's organic and safe, I'm going to do that. It's a huge trade-off to go ahead and use the copper soap. So it's a product that you don't have to be afraid of recommending for tomatoes. Since it's a soap now, old copper would burn. This won't burn. Maybe in the mid to upper 90s it will burn, but spray in the morning. This is what I will recommend now for peach leaf curl when lime sulfur went away. We had to use chlorothalonil. This is much more effective. I'm still recommending, like we do with the chlorothalonil, a fall application after all the leaves have dropped, and then in the spring before the leaves, the buds break. So it's a good choice for that. And it has it also has downy mildew listed on it, where the only thing we had other than downy mildew, or for downy mildew, was triple action, and only Florida, one study said that neem oil would do downy mildew. So it gives us something else for downy mildew. It has a good list of house plants, but usually I'd recommend neem oil for house plants. We introduced another family of products, the Humate Granular, and this all started, we were going to introduce a 4-pound bag of soil activator, and then we started working, and we found a liquid Humate product. We decided to make a family out of those products, and so we have a 4-pound bag that we're introducing that'll be new. And a 4-pound bag offers you something that you can use if somebody only has a couple of pots that they want to bring that soil back to life, or maybe they just have one small raised bed and they don't need a 2,000 square foot bag of humates to bring the soil back to life. And so that's why we wanted to introduce that. Well, when a soil activator is gone sometime over this year's booking season, soil activator will be done. Soil activator will be switching over to Humate. And so the 20-pound and the 40-pound bag will be called Humate now. Nothing's changed on the inside of the bag. It's just so that we can have a family of products. And I had somebody ask earlier about that. We were going to have to change this product eventually anyway. The word activator, more and more states were wanting us to not register soil activator because the name activator implies that you're doing something to the soil. And so instead of waiting 2 or 3 years and then having to make this move, just do it now. And so that's part of why soil activator is going away. Now, top dressing is still available, and top dressing is the same Humate product, but it has 1% blood meal in it, And so that gives it, we can call it a fertilizer. And so there are some states that will allow that. And to get into states that won't register a straight humate product, that's what top dressing allows us to do. And that'll still be available. He'd asked if we could put the liquid in an RTS, and I think we had 5 people in our meeting on Thursday that's what they want. And so I wasn't sure if this was too viscous to go through an RTS, and come to find out it'll stay in solution, it'll be thin enough. So yeah, I can't say yes, it'll be an RTS, but I'm pretty sure we'll have an RTS next year. Yes? In the soil activator? I'm not 100% sure, but it might have Biodac in it already. They had mentioned that they're in a couple of our organics, and that's really the only organic granule, that and Lawn Shield, that we would have. And so, to be honest with you, I can't answer whether it's in there or not. I have to look it up. Not in the liquid, in the granule humate. Insecticides and herbicides, yeah. Okay. Why would we want it in there then? What? Oh. Yeah, I don't know if it works that way. It's as far as it absorbing the dust. Leonardite is mined, and so it's inherently going to have some. It's going to inherently have some dust. And then it gets tacky and absorbs water and gets moisture, gets hard. Thank you, James. So they do put a dust inhibitor. Sorry, I'm really patriotic, and so I'm saluting a lot. These lights are like, I can't see anybody. It's like I'm driving down the interstate. Kills-All 365. This is a glyphosate, imizapyr product. This gives us something that will kill all weeds and grasses, and then prevent new weeds from coming up for up to 365 days, up to a year. This isn't Pramitol, but it's very similar. We have some of the same issues. You absolutely do not want to use it in the drip zone of a tree or a shrub. You don't want to use it uphill of a tree or a shrub because it'll migrate down with moisture and with time. On the ground, they say it may only move 6 to 8 foot. On a slope, it can move over 20, 25 foot. And so, and of course, it depends on how sandy and how tight the soil is. But so this is just, when we used to have permakill, you had to be aware of that, be aware of it here. We put in bold blue letters, total vegetation kill. And I believe that one bullet says specifically, do not apply in the root zone of desirable plants. And so it just gives us something to compete with the 365s that are out there. Triclopyr, we were going to lose turf lawn ester. Maybe not permanently, but for the short term, we were going to lose it. There were some, the master that we were using for turf lawn ester was being reevaluated. There were probably going to be some changes on it. Well, that's a pretty important item for some of us, and we couldn't go a year without turf lawn ester. And so we are using the triclopyr that's in our range and pasture that you saw out front. triclopyr, and so the name is changed to triclopyr ester. So the percent went back up. It was 60.85, now it's 61.45, which it was a few years ago when they changed it to ultra. And so all the instructions on the label are the same, so there's no changes. 2 tablespoons per gallon for suppression of Bermuda grass, and 2 teaspoons of spreader sticker. I have to say that because that label, as you know, is like use 8 ounces on 200 acres or 200,000 acres. It's an ag label, and on the master label, it does not say how many tablespoons per gallon. We can't put it on there. And so you have to make a sign for that. 2 tablespoons per gallon for Bermuda grass. On some of the broadleaf weed controls, it's as low as 2 teaspoons per gallon, but I've never burned fescue or bluegrass at 2 tablespoons per gallon. Yep, 1 ounce. Well, yeah, Bermuda grass, it'll cut it back a ways and it'll keep it from expanding. But with Bermuda grass, you have to make 3 applications a year, so June, July, and August, and you have to do that for 3 years. And if you do that, by the 3rd year, you've starved the root from food, and then it'll die. But you know how we have so many people that, oh, they spray once and that they think that's good enough. We're only doing it for suppression to keep it from spreading. So I was talking about some range and pasture products, and they were out front. They've taken those down while we've been talking here. And these range and pasture products, they're mostly herbicides, or they're all herbicides, and varying degrees of either broadleaf weeds, woody plants, vines, and a lot of the customers that are using these products are familiar with what they are, what they're used for. Clopyralid is a I forgot totally what I was going to say about this. Is this the Dave? Is this the thistle product? Okay, this is a product for thistles. The clopyralid, the downfall of using this, and I would never recommend this for turf, is this product adheres to organic matter and stays in organic matter for a long period of time. And one of the research guys at K-State, they did some research on clopyralid. They fed it, or they put it on the grass. They fed the grass to the cows, and it doesn't hurt the cattle at all. But the manure that came from the cows after they were fed this, they composted that. And 3 years later, it was still in there. It would still kill a tomato plant 3 years later. And so this is something you're not going to put where you're going to collect the grass, put it in a compost pile, and then use it in a garden. And so that's the one warning I would give about clopyralid. But it's the thistle down product from Monterey is this product. And so it does give us offer us something that's real effective on thistles in particular in a field situation. Dicamba 4 and Dicamba D, this is broadleaf weed killer. You can use it in the turf. You can use it, again, out in pastures. There's no waiting period as far as you can do it right when the cows are in the field. And then all of these things have, when you can let them graze for hay and for dairy or taking them to the slaughter, and that'll be in the catalog too. Picloram D, Picloram 22K, this is a federally registered product, so this won't be available to everybody. you have to have a license, and this is a sterilizer, and so it's a non-selective sterilizing product used around farm buildings. And then 2,4-D amine and 2,4-D LV6, it's a low volatility 2,4-D. These two products are broadleaf weed killers. The 2,4-D amine is a inexpensive product. So if you want something kind of cheap in a gallon or 2.5 gallon, that's what this is for. It's helped us to get into that market a little bit. The LV6 is a little bit more expensive, but it goes a lot further. It's an 88% versus a 47%. So a little more economical, excuse me. It's not going to volatilize as bad. It still will. But the straight 2,4-D amine, if I apply that today and it's humid, it can drift over 2 miles. The LV6, if it's humid, it might only be a half mile. It reduces the drift. But then if you add dicamba and MCPP, Trimec, the drift is only like 6 feet, 6 to 12 foot. You add carfentrazone to that, and it's like 3 feet. So the more chemicals you add to 2,4-D, the more it restricts that volatilization and how far it's going to drift. And then Cattleman's Choice is a permethrin piperonal butoxide product. It's a pour-on for cows, and I think Mr. Money had talked about this being a very economical product. We've had this one for over a year. It's a really good product for us, and this kind of led us into the other products. Break? What am I supposed to break? Well, if you guys have product suggestions, label change suggestions, you can send those to me. One of the nice things they've done in the catalog is they have put our email addresses in there, and I've been getting emails all the time while I've been here. I haven't been answering phone calls, so I would offer that out there. I do emails almost all the time, so I'll get back to you fairly rapidly. So thank you. Yes. Okay.
Is natural fertilizer, natural guard ever going to come back?
Yes. Well, probably yes.
Any idea when?
We're working on that right now, and we're working on it for the possibility of next year. And if we can get it before that, we would probably soft launch it and then hard launch it into next year.
Oh, I'm sorry. She had asked if natural guard fertilizers were going to come back.
All right, well, there's been a lot of discussion today about social media and websites and all that kind of thing, and I think it's been pretty spot on, and those of you that I've talked to have agreed. And we have also mentioned that we at VPG need to be very involved with this and actually lead it in a number of ways. And we have mentioned that Krista Lowry is going to do that. But I want to manage some expectations at the same point in time. We are taking other responsibilities off of her and dedicating her 100% to social media. That doesn't mean that she's 100% up and ready to go today. So, if you reach out to her Monday when we get back and say, I need this, that, and the other thing, that isn't completely 100% done yet. She's going to start dedicating 100% of her time today going forward on it. So it's going to take some time to build some of those things, obviously. But I do want you to know we are completely dedicating that resource. and we will get there, just like you will get there. We'll get there as well, and we will help you every place that we possibly can. So just make sure that you don't think that Monday we've got 10 years of programs ready to go, because we don't, but we're putting them together. So that having been said, we've got some exciting stuff going on. Krista has been working on the website for the last number of months, and she's got all the back end put in place. She's got most of it done, and we're going to have her come up and go through a number of slides and show you what that's going to look and feel like, some of the features and benefits to it, and I think you're going to find it much improved from where we've been. So, Krista? There you go.
Good afternoon. Is that better? Okay. So as Todd said, I'm going to walk you through some of the functionality of the new website that we've been developing. This has been something that we've been working on since probably last fall. It has been a really big undertaking because of the sheer size of our existing website, because basically because of the wide number of SKUs that we have. There's a lot of content there. It's been taking a lot of time to migrate that content over to the new site. We are just about ready to launch that and make it live, and y'all are getting the first preview of it before it does go live. What you see behind you right here is a screenshot of the overall design of the website. The first thing we wanted to do is make sure that the design matched the current brand look and feel that we've been establishing with all of our other advertising items, the ads, the POP, and the labels. And I don't think it is any big surprise that one of the main objectives we wanted to accomplish with the website was to update the design. The existing website I think it was built at least a decade ago, and at the time it was pretty typical of websites that were early on for the technology, but it is way outdated for what websites typically are right now. So we wanted to give it a fresh, new, and updated feel and design. We wanted to make sure that the navigation was a lot easier, that the user could get to the website and find the ultimate product page they were looking for really, really quickly. I think the existing website, it could take anywhere from 5 to 6 clicks on the page before you found the product that you were looking for. Our goal for this website was to make sure that most content was available in at least in 2 clicks, 3 at the most, and we have accomplished that. I'll show you that in just a minute. Another objective was to create a more robust site search function. The existing website, you could search for grubs and you may not come up with anything at all, maybe one product, and it may not even be the product that you were looking for. The new site, when you search for grubs, you're going to find anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 different returns. The first thing that you're going to get when you search for grubs, you're going to get any products at the top of your return, the products that have grub in the name. The next items that you would see would have grub in the immediate description or maybe one of the claims on the front of the bottle. Below that, you'll also see items that have grubs in the application on the label. And then below that, you'll find more information that may be in a PDF that's loaded to the site that you could download. It could be a label PDF, it could be an article that was written, or it could be a piece of advertising that we've loaded to the site to you that also contain the word grubs. So you're going to find a lot of information whenever you search on any term. We also updated the dealer finder. I know that was a struggle for some of you, having your dealer listing on the website. It wasn't always up to date, or some people couldn't find your location by looking on our website. And I'm going to show you here in a few minutes how much that dealer locator function has improved. So the navigation is a lot easier now. Like I said before, we wanted to get everything available within 2 clicks. The navigation bar, let's try it over here, is the very top where you have the list of items that you can click on. Up here, you have a choice of products, help search, dealer locator, dealer login, those sorts of things. That very first item is products. If you hover over products, you're going to have a drop down where you can choose any one of our brands. If you hover over Fertilome, there's going to be a slide out that comes over to the side with any product category. So that's your first click. You're going to go directly to whatever category you want, and once you click on a category, it'll take you to a category page that lists all of the products within that category. And this is an example of a category page. This is the category page for our Natural Guard by Fertilome new products that Tony was just talking about. We have a wide array of products in that category, so that's one that I chose to show here. This is just a few of them. And then when you land on a product page, second click, you will have a lot of the same information that we have on our existing site, and then a lot of new information too that I think will be really valuable to you. There is the same detailed description of all of the products. Over to the side, you'll have are documents that you can download about the product. They could be anything from images that you can use for advertising. There are safety data sheets, your SDS sheets. The label you can download, and there's also planogram images that you can download from there. The newest thing we have included on the product pages for our core products, there's an audio file that's loaded on these product pages now, which is this element down here at the bottom of the page. I'm sure it's probably hard to see up there. That's a little audio player. When you click play, there's going to be a quick 20 to 30 second audio file that loads and automatically plays. It's going to be a short description of the product. It is it will tell you the active ingredients and the application of the product. So real quick, within 20 to 30 seconds, you can have just about anything you need to know about that product. So it saves you a lot of time from having to download the label and read up to 20 pages of a product label to figure out what you need to know. One of the cool things that we want to do with this element is on the next time we print shelf talkers, we want to put QR codes on those shelf talkers. If you don't know what a QR code, it looks kind of like a barcode. And when you have a smartphone, there's going to be an app on your smartphone that will scan that QR code. And when that QR code is scanned in your store, that audio player will automatically play. So you can be standing at the shelf with a customer, scan that QR code, and a voice is going to come up and read that 20 to 30 second description. Really, really quick recap of all that immediate information. Next, I want to show you the dealer locator. Up there is where the user will click on the dealer locator button. A little search bar is going to show up, and they can type in anything there that they want to search on. Most likely, they're going to search on either your specific store name if they're looking for you, or they're going to type in their zip code. They want to find a garden dealer within their zip code. I typed in here, for the sake of this screenshot, my personal zip code, 76227. And this is going to show you how the list of dealers can show up. First at the top is going to be dealers that are specifically within that zip code, in their address that's loaded onto our site. Below that's going to be dealers that are in close proximity to that zip code that they entered. Over here to the right, a user can click on that button and they can view that dealer on a map, and they can click on the map and find out directly how to get to the location. Now you, as dealers, can click underneath that. I know you can't see it, but that says, is this your listing? You can claim your listing now and have complete control over the information that's in your store listing. So I am going to click on, is this your listing? Hopefully. There we go. And you're going to be able to update your information. Here. All of those, are you chuckling about the name? For those of you that can't see it, it says Fiasco Lawn and Garden. There's a really good reason that I chose that name. It is my maiden name, so I use that for all of my sample things. So we have Fiasco Lawn and Garden. If I were to own a garden store, I would name it Fiasco Lawn and Garden, and no one would want to come. But because it's not a real store, we're going to use this just for an example. You can claim your listing. You can, if you need to change your name for whatever reason, if you have a new DBA, or if our database that we have loaded in here has an old record file in it, you can update it. If you've moved since we had your information in here, you can update your address yourself. You can update your phone number. You can add more information in this website. You can add your website address. You can add your email address. Typically, what you're probably going to want to add if you're adding an email address is an info@fiascolawnandgarden.com. I don't know that you want to put your personal in there, because whatever you load onto this page is going to show to the public. So you can add some sort of an administrative email address there. You can click over here and you can add your logo. There's a button right there that says upload logo. There's a browse button, so you can go find it on your own hard drive and upload the logo. I'm sorry? Yes, you have to have a dealer login in order to do this. If you don't have a dealer login, up here, there is a button that says dealer login. Click on that button and it will prompt you to enter your username and password, or if you don't already have one, there'll be a line of text that says that need login, click here. You click there and then it will be automatically sent to you within a matter of minutes. It'll show up in your inbox. Oh, also, when you do make these changes, they won't be immediately live. They have to come through myself or Marcia to be approved, because we don't want somebody going in here and typing in something inappropriate. So there is that safety measure there. Yes. If you already have multiple store listings in here, you edit each listing individually. If we need to add a second listing, then you can email myself, or there is an email that you can click on in here that goes into an admin box that comes to me, and we can set up an additional location for you. All right, so once you update all of your information, you add your logo, you add your store hours. Oh, there's even a box over here that's an about section. So if you specialize in something in particular, or if you have special hours through the holidays or whatever the case may be, you can type whatever you want in that box and it will also show in your listing. So when your listing is updated, this is what the user will see. They'll see your name, your address, your phone number, your website, any about information, anything that you've entered is going to show up on this page. So make sure you don't enter something that you don't want the public to see. There's also a map that's going to show up over here that shows exactly where your location is. And if the user wants to get directions, all they have to do is click on the map and their map will come up on their screen and they can get directions. One of the other really super duper important things that we wanted to do with this website is make sure that it was mobile optimized. The reason for that, if you're not already aware, is that 60% of all search engine traffic is coming from mobile devices now, up from 50% last year. So search traffic on mobile is growing each and every year, whether it be on a laptop or, an iPad or an iPhone, whatever kind of smartphone you have, people are searching on their mobile device more frequently than they are their desktop or laptop computer. So the new website was built on a responsive platform. And what that means is that regardless of what device you're searching on, it is a user-friendly interface. If it's on a smaller screen, like we have here, I don't know if you remember what the navigation bar looked like when I was showing you a screenshot of on a laptop. All of this was across in one straight line. Now that it's in a smaller frame, everything resized itself and repositioned itself automatically because it's smart enough to know what kind of device you're searching on. So everything rearranges on the page. You no longer have to pinch to zoom into anything. Everything's going to be large enough type that you can read it without having to do anything to it. One of the cool things about having this platform is that when a user is on your dealer locator or on your dealer listing, they don't have to copy and paste the phone number. They don't have to memorize the phone number. They can, if they're on their phone, all they have to do is tap on your phone number, and it will ask them, do you want to call? And they say yes, and your phone starts ringing. And also, when you're on a mobile device, if you tap on the map, your map application automatically launches, and you can get directions to the location right away. One of the other things that we wanted to do with the new website was use it as a tool to provide our dealers with marketing materials that are customized to their store. The first element that we've loaded on here, some of you have already seen, is a 4-step lawn care program banner. If you go into the dealer portal, there is a link that you can click on to design your, to edit the template, I guess is the best way to put it, of a banner, and you can include all of your own information. You can create your own headline, your own sub-headline. You can choose from anywhere from 2 to 6 different products there that you want to promote as your lawn care program. You upload your own logo, and then in a little under a week, you will have a print-ready file that you can take to your printer and have printed to hang in your store. And now, after you do that, you can use your co-op funds to submit that cost into the home office or to your RSM, I guess, and then be reimbursed for the cost of the banner. So it truly becomes a no-cost item to you. Next. There we go. All right, so I think what you've all been really waiting for is for me to talk a little bit about social media and content marketing that Cam was talking about earlier. We are now committed to developing our own social media strategy. We've already got a Facebook page, but we're going to also create a Twitter page, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, any social media outlet that makes sense for us to be a part of. We will have an account on and we will be active in it. So the slide says that there would be a full-time social media specialist dedicated to growing this network. Well, you're looking at her. That's now going to be my job to maintain all of this. It's what I have a lot of experience doing. My degree is in marketing and advertising that I got, we'll just call it 20 years ago. And since then, most of my experience has been in ad agencies. You cannot grow up in the advertising and marketing business without learning this technology as it's continued to grow. You can't market or advertise any client successfully without learning this technology. So I've got a lot of experience in the past 10 years, ever since the technology was created, and as it's been growing, I've been growing with it and learning as it's evolved. So I've got a lot of experience in maintaining social media, marketing social media, working on search engine optimization, search engine marketing. So those are the few of the things that we're going to be doing as in VPG. Yes, ma'am. For dealers to communicate? Okay, what she's asking is for Fertilum to create a group on Facebook that dealers and distributors can be a part of just to communicate. If you're not familiar what a group is versus a brand page or versus a personal page is Krista Fiasco. I've got my own page. A brand page is Fertilum. It doesn't have a face to it. It's just a brand. A group page is a private group that you have to, generally you would want to be approved to join, and anybody can post in it. If you go post on a brand page, it's probably not going to show up on the timeline of the page, but in a group page, anybody can post on it, and anybody who's also in that group is going to see it and they can answer back. So there's a lot of communication. There are a lot of trade-offs of ideas and sharing of information. I think that's actually a really great idea. That's the first I've heard it. I love it. I think that's a fantastic idea for sharing of information. Would y'all be interested in joining something like that? Okay, consider it done. All right. Yes. See, we work fast. I think there was a question back here. Okay, good. Yes. I'm sorry? Specific Fertilum products? Posting the links or links from the Fertilum website? Yes, there's going to be a lot of that. There's the couple things going on here. On the, you know what, let me go back. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it in this screenshot. Oh, here we go. No, you can't see it in this particular screenshot, but on each product page, there's what's called social media connectors. You can click on, there's going to be an icon for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, I believe. And you as a user can click directly on that button and it launches your Facebook and creates a link to that product page. If you as a garden dealer on your brand page want to share that product, you can, and you can write a short description, whatever you want to post about it. But that's going to be a lot of what I'm going to be doing on our Facebook page, is posting links to our products with descriptions. And is that what you're asking? Okay, good, yes. So the answer is yes. Long story short. But yeah, there's a couple of ways to do it, and we'll be facilitating all of that.
Krista?
Yes. Let's
Hey,
go
Krista?
back to where I was.
Krista?
Yes.
I know there's going to be a ton of questions, and we're going to have to put some of them after because, and I know it's extremely top of mind and important, but we do have 3 speakers that we got to get up, so.
Okay, so let me just answer this last question, because this last question is actually to the last point that I've got on here on this slide, and this is actually my last slide. So you don't have to worry about me talking too much, Todd. I didn't mean anything bad by that. You never have to worry about me talking too much. That's not my thing, right? Oh my gosh. I am such a Gen Xer. I was sitting over here and I was freaking out with how well Cam was describing me. It was like he knew me and my mom and my best friend, and he came and he talked to them and found out everything about me and decided to talk about me while he was on stage. Not even kidding. I am such a Gen Xer. Everything that he said is me. About to buy a home, getting a dog. Thank God I got my Purididdle before there was a shortage on man's best friend. I am a total Facebook stalker. I'm not going to buy anything or go to any store until I go online and do my research. And according to him, I just found out a little while ago that I am a drone mom. I am. Okay, so my last point, one of the things that I'm going to be spending a bulk of my time on is creating content. That content is going to be posted on a blog on our website. That content could be in the form of a Facebook post with a link back to our website. It could be in the form of a short article that somebody else has written that I want to share and then put our spin to it on the comment that goes above it. It can come in all sorts of different ways. I'll post that on our social media feeds, and then you as garden dealers, if you're following us, you'll see that in your feed and you can share it. Or you can save it off and post it as your own content. Either way. So half of that work is done for you with maintaining your social media. From what we're going to create, you can use it as your own, and half of the work is done for you. All of a sudden, you have a social media campaign based on what we're doing. Now, what Kim said earlier about making your social media feed hyper-local, that's something you're gonna have to do either in between sharing our post, or you can edit our post as you share it off to use it as your own, edit it and put your own local information into it. Because he was dead on in saying that being local to the community is probably the most important thing about your social media feed. Any other quick questions, or am I done? Yes.
I have a question about the QR codes.
Yes.
Have you thought about the text replies instead of QR codes?
The what?
Text replies. So you text a 4-digit number to the phone, from your phone, instead of using a QR code. Using QR codes, there's different platforms that you need to download to get the correct QR code to read.
Well, I bet there's no fewer than 200 different apps you can download on your smartphone to read a QR code. I would expect that a lot of people already have a QR code reader on their phone and they don't even know it. And while you're in the store, if you want to read that QR code with a customer, if you already have it loaded on your smartphone that's in your pocket, you just scan it and play it in case the customer doesn't have one. Using text replies would be used a little bit differently than a QR code would. I personally am not a big fan of texting marketing because I don't want all that crap coming to my phone. Some people really like it, but the only reason you would want to do it is if you have a lot of really aggressive promotional offers that you're going to push out when you're texting. It's a little bit different application than you would with a QR code. A QR code is going to take you to a very specific link on a website for very specific information that you're looking for. Okay? Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks, Krista. And we're going to call our social media Lowry social media, not Fiasco social media.
Hey, Todd, one point to make to everybody. We haven't been using all of our co-op money. Here's another way to do this. When we leave that co-op money in, we're not getting sales increases.
Yeah, what Steve's saying is that we leave a lot of co-op money on the table every single year, and as you know, we don't do a whole lot for national advertising. It's very hard for us to do. We're the local solutions for local problems, right? So we count on our dealers to do that advertising locally, what works for them, and then submit that and use the funds, the co-op funds, to offset that. We leave a lot of money at that every year, and we'd love to see all that used up because the advertising that's being done needs to be that advertising. So please encourage your dealers and those dealers that are here. Please do that advertising. We're happy to pay that money back. We want to pay that money back, and we need to pay that money back because that's the advertising that's being done. That's a good point, Steve. At this point, we've got a couple of sponsors that are going to take a few minutes each and talk to you a little bit about what they do for VPG. They're very important to us. And the first one is Koch Industries. Chris Derrick, if you'd come up. Thank you, Chris.
Yep, thanks for having us. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say we're excited to be here representing Koch Industries. John Meyer and myself. John, raise your hand. He's our regional rep that covers the VPG account, and I am here representing more of the technical field sales agronomy type questions regarding the products that we provide to VPG. So hopefully these slides loaded up appropriately. Let's see. So what we want to talk about real quick, not going to take a whole lot of your time, is just the enhanced efficiency fertilizer category that we're involved in as a large manufacturer. We know fertilizers are very important to what we do, to what VPG does, but we're also very cognizant on making products more efficient. And we want to factor in the benefits, the slow release, the controlled release. We want to make sure things are safer for the environment. But at the end of the day, we're all dealing with basic nitrogen nutrients that hasn't changed a whole lot. If you think about it, nitrogen's been around for a long time. Urea has been around for probably 200 years. So it's really something that not a whole lot of new technologies have come out except for how we can slow down the release process, how we can control the release of the nutrients and be more efficient over time. But I did want to take just a couple minutes to kind of give a quick overview of what Koch's all about. We are a very large conglomerate that's involved in a lot of different industries. Dates back to 1940, and we're based out of Wichita, Kansas. Some of the things that you see on the screen obviously should be recognizable to you, one of those being Georgia Pacific. Obviously a very strong consumer presence in paper and building materials. So Koch is a sole owner of that. That was a 2005 acquisition. You probably remember a lot of the DuPont plastics and polymers, if you will. We have those in our Invista group in the top right corner. So like nylon, Lycra, Stainmaster carpet. Those are just some examples that are parts of our industry on other sides of the office, if you will. But we also, if you really go back, we started in oil and gas and have expanded into fertilizer manufacturing. So Koch Ag and Energy, I guess the pointer's in the center. Nope. There it is on the back side. Very top. Very top. There it is. So over here, basically, Koch Ag and Energy, that's where Koch fertilizer is nestled in with a lot of different types of manufacturing, phosphate, potash, nitrogen, if you will. But really small to that is our business unit called Koch Agronomic Services, which John and I represent. So we're the agronomy type people that are selling fertilizers to broadacre ag, specialty ag, consumer markets, turf, professional growers, just anything in the green industry that's looking for enhanced efficiency type fertilizers. So, but that gives you an idea of kind of our broad scope of what we do across the globe in 60 countries with about 100,000 employees. But the majority of those are based here in the United States with roughly about 60,000. So Molex is one of our more recent ones, so everybody is familiar with iPads and iPhones. A lot of the connectors, the pin and socket connectors that are in those devices are made by Molex. So kind of unique story to understand our grasp and our swath in the industry. So back to the main point, enhanced efficiency fertilizers. Obviously, we have an organization called AFCO that some of you guys are probably familiar with. It's the Association of American Plant Food Control Officials. So you think about all the different states and entities in the United States, if you will, they all govern in their each individual state fertilizer regulations, applications, et cetera. So AFCO is not the government, but they are a body of industry professionals that help represent and try to help, unify, if you will, the message that's trying to be achieved within the industry of fertilizer manufacturing. So we want to try to unify, make things as comparable across states as we can for fair competition, but also factoring in the environmental piece as well. So AFCO is very crucial to our business in explaining by a number of definitions like what you see here as to what we're all about. So enhanced efficiency fertilizers is really just new terminology to encompass slow release, controlled release, natural organics, polymer-coated fertilizers, you name it. There's a number of different technologies that have all been grouped into this new category. But by definition, it's really just products with characteristics that allow increased plant uptake, increased efficiency of that nutrient delivery, but at the same time reducing the potential loss of those nutrients to the environment. So some of the products that were mentioned earlier, like low volatility. Volatility is something that we have to factor in as a risk with urea-based fertilizers. Now, it's not anything that's really detrimental to the environment. It's just something that will reduce the efficiency of your product. So you want to get more bang for your buck. You want to get what you paid for. You want to make sure that these chemicals, these synthetics, and these fertilizer nutrients that are all around us are more efficient and can be protected, if you will, and provided to the plant more efficiently. A couple other different loss mechanisms. Leaching. Obviously, some of the comments I've had with some people from Florida, you get a lot of rainfall. Soil types are very porous, very sandy. There's just things that we can't always control. And all fertilizers, all of these nutrients that plants take up are somewhat soluble. They have to go into solution to be plant available. The old rule of thumb is plants don't eat their nutrients, they drink them. So it's really a matter of making sure that we can slow the process of availability down, even though we need water, the plants need the water, the nutrients need the water to be available. So leaching is one of those, and also denitrification, which is something where once we get nitrogen in the soil, it starts to convert back to where it came from, nitrogen in the atmosphere, nitrous gas. So a lot of things can impact those fertilizers, and in comparable performances to reference fertilizers, EEFs are a lot better to use, simply because they're not your basic ammonium nitrate, ammonium sulfate, urea, what we would call inorganic salts and synthetic organics. They are better products for performance. All right, so one of the technologies that we sell to VPG actually dates back to 2010. I was fortunate to be involved with VPG at that time. I was managing this territory and have since moved on to some other responsibilities in the company. But one of the problems with the products that you guys were selling was it was very hard to understand how the slow-release products were working. And at that time, the high-yield and Fertilome products were using more of the methylated urea-type nutrient sources. So methylene ureas, urea formaldehydes, if you will. And we still make those today. They're highly used in the professional industry, but they are a bit more complicated in understanding how they work because we're making what we call insoluble nitrogen. And for the sake of states like such as Florida, and where we want to try to make things more clear and we want to make things more readily available, we helped VPG switch over to a product called XCU, which is a slow-release technology that is 100% water-soluble nitrogen, but we just encapsulate that nutrient in a protective coating, if you will. And I went too far. Let's see. How do you go back? Where do I point this thing? There we go, right there. So kind of gives you a visual, if you will, of this encapsulation process that we do to protect that urea granule. Urea is widely used. It's a very safe product, high nitrogen concentration. It's not something that's an issue with the Department of Homeland Security with some of these ammonium nitrate-based fertilizers. So it's something that it's our base for a lot of the different products that we use in the professional and consumer space. So, but SCU, for example, if you see in the top right corner, has been in the marketplace since the late 60s. So it was a TVA-based product, Tennessee Valley Authority, who created this to make a better product for agricultural use. But there hasn't been a whole lot of advances in that product until 2008, when we decided to change the composition of the coatings, use less coating, but provide a more consistent release over the same expected longevity, roughly 6 to 8 weeks. So you think about a conventional fertilizer like urea in a turf application, you're only going to get about 4 weeks of response. So that can be a problem in the sense that you got to keep applying. And the efficiency of that product is not always going to be the greatest because of those loss mechanisms that we mentioned earlier. So if we can protect that over a period of time, but still allow it to release what the plant needs over that 6 to 8 week period of time, that's the efficiency that we're talking about. So the improvements were made in 2008 with XCU to switch it from just a generic SCU to what we call a PCSCU. So just the simple addition of this polymer layer here, it's a long way away, so my hand's obviously shaking. But that polymer layer is very important in protecting, if you will, the urea substrate. And then on top of that, we still use the sulfur and the wax as these protectants or sealants, if you will. So the benefits have greatly increased just in those subtle changes. Now, I do have a lot of information I can provide to help explain the improvement, but ultimately, that polymer layer helps gradually release the nutrients, whereas the old SCU technologies were deemed what we call catastrophic. So they would just release all of their nitrogen at different times. Well, XCU really helps to bridge the gap between what an old school SCU would do and some of our higher technology products like polymer-coated ureas can do. So that's our business. We really just take that basic nutrient source of urea and we encapsulate it for added benefits of reduced environmental impact and efficiency to the plant. All right, so kind of wrapping it up, what makes it different? Obviously, it's designed to provide release in a turf grass situation up to 10 weeks, which is obviously almost twofold the release of basic urea by itself. The inner polymer layer, I've hit on that in terms of its importance. The shift of SCU to PCSU is a major reduction in the amount of sulfur that's used. Obviously, sulfur is beneficial to the plant. It's a secondary macronutrient, but we don't really get the whole benefit out of that sulfur as readily as we would like because plants don't take up elemental sulfur, they take up sulfate type sulfur. But over time, that can become readily available, and it also has an impact on the pH as well. But we're trying to improve on reducing the amount of coatings and additional ingredients that we have to apply, but provide more benefits and more release characteristics. So, and the durability is certainly increased. We think about fertilizers, they have to be handled. They have to go through the VPG blending facility, and they have to go through the bagging facility. So you want them to have their integrity intact by the time they hit your customer's fertilizer spreader in their lawn. So we obviously have invested a lot of time and engineering in making sure that these products are not just going to be a catastrophic release product right out of the gate. So a lot of work goes into that. And ultimately, the final question is, why use a slow-release fertilizer? Obviously, it's more consistent in the release of the nitrogen. Nitrogen, if you think about it, plants really take up their nutrients in what we call a spoon-feeding fashion. So you think about a quick-release application, high rate, a lot of that is not used, a lot of inefficiency there. So the slow release provides those benefits. Turfgrass safety. Obviously, we think about fertilizers. They're salts, inorganic salts and the urea type products. So they have a burn potential. You can reduce that potential when you look at these encapsulated type products. Less flush growth. Obviously, the last thing we want to do is bale hay. As a turf manager in my previous years as a superintendent and a sports field manager, it's all about the consistency. And your homeowners and your customers and your nursery growers, et cetera, your hobbyists, they want that good, steady, consistent growth. And that's the basic concept behind slow release. And then the cost per unit of nitrogen benefits versus conventional. You're stretching that nitrogen application much longer than a conventional source. So over that period of time, your cost per unit of N drops dramatically, okay? And then the do-it-yourselfers. I mean, again, back to the, if you want to do it yourself, you want to do it right, but you don't want to do it so many times. And that's where we can reduce the number of applications because of these products and still give the performance that you're looking for. Healthy, green, but not excessive. So a lot of the benefits that we are looking for in terms of efficiency, these products can provide those benefits to you. So that's all I have, just a quick overview of what we're about. We have a number of different technologies that we sell into the pro market and consumer market, so maybe we can have some sidebar conversations about that. But ultimately, we appreciate the chance to be here to help sponsor this event. And Steve, haven't had a chance to speak with you specifically in person, but we've chatted over the phone. It's a great partnership, and we're looking forward to keep that partnership going. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Hey,
I think there's about 40 different label bag products that carry both high yield and fertilome that carry the XCU technology. And one thing
we've called it out on the front of the bags now. So the logo is there. The XCU logo is on the front.
There is some co-branding that's on some of those bags that really points out, and it has that graphic of the granule too.
And in the new catalog, there's also a description of what that is. We've done a description in there. Okay, we're going to go over just a little bit, but let me tell you what we're going to do. We've got Helm that's going to come up and talk, and they're going to be they're pretty brief. He said he didn't have a long conversation. I know there's some more meetings start at 4, and what we're going to do is after Helm comes up, then we're going to let the distributor salespeople go to the distributor sales person meeting, and at that point, then we'll bring the perfect plant up, because what he has is really specific to retailers. So he'll come up and do his short video after the distributor salespeople leave, so we are on schedule. So with that having been said, Helm is another one of our sponsors. Tim Martell and Reese Miller are going to come up. They've got they do our small pack kills all, and we got a few words I'd like to say, and we're happy to have them.
Yep. Good afternoon. My name is Tim Martell. I'm a regional sales manager with Helm Agro. This is my colleague, Reese Miller. He handles all of our logistics, packaging, and also more of a direct interface with VPG. But Helm Agro, we're actually a German company. We're more focused on agriculture, mainline agriculture, than we are the turf and ornamental and homeowner segment. But our relationship with VPG is on the Kills-All product. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of you guys and gals for supporting us in the field and giving us an opportunity, to have our product, although it's not branded under the Helm name. We do have our own glyphosate called Helisate Plus Advanced, but yours is in the Kills-All brand, of course, and we appreciate, the support and the opportunity to work as a partner with VPG. We do have a fairly extensive portfolio of active ingredients. We have about 12 products currently, several new products coming online, and we're looking forward to working with Tom and James and Steve in the future to bring more products to you that you'll be able to use in the field. Some of them are fairly cutting edge, products that I think are going to find a good fit, in the VPG portfolio. But our product is, of course, the 41% liquid glyphosate Kills-All. We actually bring this tech of the glyphosate in from China, where Helm has had a relationship with the Chinese for about 40 years. So we were kind of there before doing business with China became real popular. And in doing that, we have established a lot of protocols, a lot of business relationships, and a lot of opportunities to have quality control that probably a lot of glyphosate producers don't have. So we bring the tech over here. It actually ships into to New Orleans. It ships into a port on the West Coast, and then it comes into New Orleans. From there, we take it to our facility, which is in Waynesboro, Mississippi. The product is aminated there, turned into liquid, and then, of course, put in the Kills-All jug label packaging, and then we ship it out from there to you guys, and of course, in the end, to your customers. So that's a little background on how our relationship with VPG and our product offering. Helm is a German-based company. It's an interesting story. It's a family-owned business, and it's been in business for over 100 years, and actually has been in the same family for about the last 70 years, and is actually a third generation in the third generation of family members being involved in the actual running and managing of the business. But I know that we're standing in between this and I think kind of the wrap up. So that's basically the Helm story. If you have questions, or we did get a couple of questions earlier today about the glyphosate product. It is a fully loaded surfactant that is in our 41% product. If you have further questions or any information you would like to learn more about the Kills-All product, we'd be glad to answer those questions in a one-on-one format. But again, we appreciate very much the opportunity to work with VPG and appreciate the support, the opportunity to sponsor and be a part of this event. So thank you very much.